Hey guys, so today I want to speak to you about 7 qualities that have made me richer, or rather wealthier than most millennials. Now, this video is not the video where I'm going to be attempting to show off. That's not what this channel is about at all. This video actually is more about reflections. What I want to do with today's video is just reflect on a number of things that have helped me to get to where I am today, with the hope that the points I'm going to share on today's video are going to be inspiring for you. But more importantly, I'd love for the points to be points that really help to build your inner confidence, things that actually help you to believe more in yourself and more in your future capabilities. I should mention that I've done this journey over the last decade and more with my incredible wife, Mary. She has been side by side with me as I've grown as an individual over the last decade and beyond, okay? So wherever I mention what I'm really referring to is my journey, but with my wife alongside me as a life partner and a friend. You see, the things I'm going to be sharing today are not just quick tips. Yeah, I'd love for you to truly immerse yourself in today's video. This time of year is a very reflective time for most people when I'm making this video, as we think about the new year and things we'd love to achieve, whilst also looking back in the last 12 months at what we might have achieved in the year or not achieved, okay? So if you're loving the sound of today's video, I'd love for you to hit the like button, just to give me a signal that you love these types of videos that I make, where I'm just taking a step back. This is unscripted, but really just reflecting and sharing things that I honestly believe are absolutely game-changing if you're patient enough to actually listen, reflect on the points, and then begin to apply them to your own life. So for those who are new to the channel, my name's Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is give you the tips, the insights, the practical hacks to help you take control, grow your money, and work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. Okay, so a bit of backstory on what the inspiration for today's video has been. Every year I write a blog post called 100 Things That Made My Year. That blog post is actually more of a gratitude blog post where I just look, every single month I make a list of about a dozen things that have been incredible in my life. Everything from the smallest of things to big wins as well. And then I compile them in a whole year to have about 100 things that made my year. And I was reflecting on my list of things for this year. I was looking at them on my phone as I was preparing to transcribe them and convert them into a blog post. And I thought to myself, wow, what an incredible year I've actually had this year. Given the backdrop, you know, we've been having a pandemic and there have been many things that have gone down, but overall, there have been some incredible things. In my own personal opinion, and being very, very frank with you, this is not just a regular thing, because every single year, as far as I can think, let's say back over the last decade, every single year has been an improvement on the year before, no matter the circumstances. So I thought to myself, what are the drivers? What are the things that are helping me achieve some of the things that I've achieved in my life? Many things that many millennials want in their lives, whether it's that you're trying to become financially free, trying to become mortgage free, trying to have a C-level job, trying to have a successful marriage, trying to start your own business. All those things that many millennials are looking for are the things that I've managed to achieve so far on my journey, including the travels. People who want to travel the world and see the world. You know, I've been very fortunate to have traveled to more than 50 cities so far in my life. Let's not forget, if you've been following our channel for a long time, you would know that I am also a first generation immigrant to this country. So if I could get quite a number of those things achieved while still being in my 30s, I'm hoping that the points I'm going to share on today's video will help you believe so much more in your capabilities, in your possibilities for the future, and will help you look ahead in terms of what's possible for your life, okay? All right, let's dive in. You've had the background now. Let me now share 7 things that I think are qualities that have helped me actually create true wealth in my life. So what I've done is I've written a few bullet points here just to guide me and just remind me of my core points for this video, okay? So my very first point, looking at my notepad here, is the appreciation of the small things, okay? That's the very first quality. Let me explain what I mean here. So there's a reason why this channel is called The Humble Penny, okay? And a big part of why this channel is called The Humble Penny, beyond, not wanting to show off and things like that, is really about appreciating the small beginnings, i.e. appreciating where you are right now in your life and seeing that place as a place of advantage, no matter how seemingly insignificant that place you might be in your life at the moment. So when I talk about appreciating the small things as a quality that I have had for most of my life, I'll give you an example when it comes to money, okay? Take even the simple penny, the penny that most of us overlook in our lives. One thing I've been able to do with my life over the last 5 to 10 years of my wealth building journey has been to really understand that everything begins with the penny, or the cent, as you might say in America. And if you're truly able to appreciate the little that you see in your life, you would then be able to not only appreciate a lot more money when it flows into your life, you'll be able to look after that money and actually be a true steward for that money. Another good example is appreciating small improvements in my life day to day. Life can be very overwhelming. You get so overwhelmed just thinking about it that you actually do nothing at all. One thing that's really helped me on my journey so far has been just appreciating the daily small things. Okay, whether it's that I woke up today and I've been able to do a bit of something as I work towards achieving a particular goal or a particular outcome, or that I put an hour into something that I'm really, really interested in, something that I think would change my life for the future, and I did it consistently, week after week, month after month. That appreciation of the little things, that small improvement, I found has been game-changing for my life and continues to be when it comes to this whole idea of building wealth. The second quality is the quality of sowing small acts of love, okay? Now, you might not expect me to say that, like what's love got to do with wealth building and things like that? The thing I want to say is that often when we think about money, we think about the mechanics of money. Whereas what I've come to realize over time that truly this whole idea of wealth building and all the things related to it is really all about a way of operating through your life. It's not just about the mechanics. You have to have a particular way of operating that fits well into your life. And this whole idea of sowing small acts of love is a good example. So one way I do that is to just do things that people don't do ordinarily. So today, I'll give you an example. It's been the festive season recently. And of course, what has everybody been doing? Everybody's been sending WhatsApp messages. One way I thought I could actually approach this season of actually trying to show true love was for me to choose a selection of people to actually phone or do a video call with. And what I found is that whenever I've gone out of my way to show true love, not just show a default way of showing love, like sending someone a message, a text message or something, and forwarding messages on like everybody else does. But if I actually personalized the message, actually reached out to somebody, what I found is that those interactions have helped me to build true relationships with people. And it's out of those relationships the opportunities then come. So I'm not doing them to then say, oh, actually, I'm building this relationship so that I can then have an opportunity. No, it's a secondary outcome from building a genuine relationship. And those genuine relationships actually come from little or small acts of love. I remember a friend of mine called Piers actually phoned me up one day on WhatsApp video, haven't spoken or seen Piers in quite a while. And I was so happy when I got that video call. I was just so happy. When you just have that thing, in fact, I'm getting a bit emotional just thinking about it. I was just, it just felt so good just getting that phone call from somebody who you haven't seen in a while and you just didn't expect to get that call from. There's something about getting that just felt like a true act of love. And for me, it just meant that that individual suddenly became a big part of my consciousness. And if ever an opportunity came up, I felt I needed somebody, and he fitted that bill, he would be top of my consciousness, top of my mind, for me to reach out and connect that opportunity to. So I'm just saying this to say that the little acts of love, the things that you do to show love to somebody else actually leads to far more than you might expect. It opens doors. It might lead to you getting a much better job, might lead to you getting a promotion, might lead to you getting a contract, might lead to you getting a new business opportunity, and so on. I'd highly recommend that you begin to think about a lot more intentionally as you think about the next 12 months. Right, so the third quality is a relentless focus on what works. You see, I've never really thought to myself that I was particularly clever or smart or intelligent. I know I've grown over time I've developed a level of intelligence over time, okay? But I've never really thought to myself, yeah, I'm like the smartest in the class or the smartest in wherever. I've just always been very, very practical. And one thing that's really helped me on my wealth building journey is really identifying, almost looking for evidence of what works, okay? I'll give you some examples, and I wrote some down here on my notepad, just kind of share some practical examples of things that I saw that then led to particular outcomes in my life. So a good example is number one is my incredible mum. Seeing my incredible mum do business and follow the business path to wealth creation. Okay, if you've not seen my interview with my mum, I'd highly recommend going to see it. I'll link to it below or above for you to click through and go and watch the interview. It's honestly, I was so happy I did that interview and captured it on video. So go and see it. But for me, the evidence came from seeing my mum do business well. And by seeing the evidence of it, I saw business as a true and verified pathway to wealth creation. Second example is seeing my good friend Sarah, who runs a food blog in London, meeting her at the Carluccio's in Marylebone, when I was thinking to myself, how do I turn this thing called the Humble Penny, this blog that we started that wasn't really making much of an income back then, how do I turn that thing into something that becomes sustainable, that will help us hire team members, that will help us start to generate an income? Seeing my good friend Sarah at the Carluccio's in Marylebone, sitting down and she just opening her phone up and saying to me, this is how I generate an income from what I do. Actually getting true evidence of how her online business worked helped me believe and see what worked and helped me get myself organized in terms of my mindset for how we could start to turn this thing into a business potentially. The third example is meeting a guy who I came across at a men's event. It was a men's mentoring event called Iron Sharpens Iron, and I met him at this event. He's a Christian city worker, a senior guy in the city of London who I met. I looked up to this guy. I met him, said, look, I'd love I want to meet him as someone who I kind of looked up to, who's done very well in the city many years ago. And one thing he said to me back then was, he sat me down and we're having a chat. It was a really good chat. And I just loved the way he composed himself, the way he, talked about his family. But the one thing he spoke about was the impact that becoming mortgage-free had on his life. And I was thinking to myself, wow, isn't it interesting how, you can trace back to moments of inspiration that then led to a particular outcome in your life. And for me, being very practical, hearing that from somebody who I actually liked, somebody who I saw the evidence, the true evidence in their life, seeing that actually happen, going away and making a sense of it for my own life, was another way in which I was then able to focus relentlessly on what worked. And by doing that, I've been able to create a different level of freedom. For me, the point I'm making here, the quality here is the quality of looking for evidence of what truly works. And for me, seeking out different instances of that evidence, acting upon them, has been completely game-changing for my life financially. The fourth quality is the appreciation of what the older generation have experienced. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. I think I might have said this once or twice here on our channel. One thing I really love doing is hanging around with people who are much older than me. Sounds very boring. Sounds very like, gosh, you've got too much time on your hands. But I tell you what, there is so much you can pick up from the older generation. I like to hang around with people who are at least 10 years to 20 years older than me. And the reason I do that is I'm able to truly appreciate the current reality that those people in their lives are going through. Like what they wish they knew when they were in their 20s or their 30s or their 40s. And I've positioned myself over time to have particular mentors. They might not even know that I'm their mentee indirectly, but they're just people who I just meet up once or twice. A good one of them is my good friend Abu, who I tend to meet up once or twice a year. And I meet up with people like that. And I just sit down, and what I do in those meetings is just to listen. It's just to digest stuff, write some notes down, and begin to ask myself, what does this mean for my life? I'll give you an example. I met a friend recently who is in his late 50s, about 57 years old, met him and his wife. And life has dealt them a bit of a surprise because unfortunately they made some not the best financial decisions with their money over time. Although they hadn't expected that to happen, but certain decisions they made essentially didn't work out for them. And meeting them and actually sitting down with them and hearing it from them, hearing that almost that fear of feeling like it's too late in the game for them, just hearing that really just made me sit back and ask myself, wow, what does this mean for us? What would it mean for us in our 40s potentially? What could it mean in our 50s when it comes to risk taking or risk management and managing our wealth? The hardest thing when it comes to wealth is actually keeping your wealth. Making the money and building wealth is actually not that difficult because you have certain things on your side. For example, you've got the power of compounding actually working in your favor, provided you've positioned money in the right place. But the bigger challenge then comes in actually protecting that wealth, actually preserving that wealth as that wealth builds up over time. And for me, spending time with the older generation, just listening to them, their current struggles, listening to what's coming out of, their current life situation just helps me not only empathize with them and where they are in their lives at the moment, making suggestions where I can, but more importantly, asking myself, what if that was me? What do I need to do today to prepare myself for that possible future reality? All right, and the fifth one is that for most of my life, I've never actually been popular. I've mostly been a bit of a loner for most of my life. And you might be looking at me, you might follow us on Instagram or here on YouTube, and you might be thinking, wow, like these guys, they're popular, they've got all these followers, all these subscribers. Like, I'm going to be really, really frank with you. Like, all those things actually mean nothing, right? As far as getting us to where we are today. Let me explain a bit more, okay? I've been unpopular for most of my life, and I've enjoyed actually being unpopular and being a bit of a loner and doing my own thing. Because being a bit of a loner has helped me in many ways actually make decisions that were countercultural, make decisions that were slightly different to what the herd are typically doing, okay? So I'm the kind of guy, and Mary's gonna laugh at me, my wife's gonna laugh at me actually giving this example. I'm the kind of guy who would actually leave a WhatsApp group just because like the people on that WhatsApp group are just talking mostly rubbish. I'm the kind of guy who will actually say, do you know what? I'm sorry guys, but not being funny, this is actually not adding any value to my life. And I wouldn't feel really bad about leaving that group. Whereas quite a lot of people will feel a slight need to conform and be a part of that group because it might look bad, or they're slightly worried about how people might judge them and stuff like that. That's just a minor example, but I'm just saying, being a loner on my journey of wealth creation has helped me a lot because it's just helped me actually relentlessly focus on what I want out of life. For me, I wanted to have complete time freedom. I wanted to be able to say, I'm going to wake up at this time, I'm going to sleep at this time, this is how much money I want to make this year, and I go off and get and work towards making that money. This is the type of work I want to do, and I choose the type of work I wanted to do. I wanted to be in complete control of not just my time, but also my money. And I can tell you that if you're somebody who always seeks popularity or seeks, trying to please everybody, like a people pleaser, you don't want to step on anybody's toes, you're worried about your words too much, you're careful, you're being too careful, then the chances are you will cruise through life doing life how everybody else does it. And if you pay very close attention to the people who've done phenomenal things in their lives, the vast majority of them, if not all of them, are people who do not conform at all. They don't really care much about what people say or think. They actually speak their minds, okay? And they go about life doing things according to, how they want to do them with some intention in the way that they operate. If you're somebody who's out there, and I'm speaking to someone, I know I am, if you're somebody who feels I'm a bit weird, I'm a bit of a lone ranger, I tend to find myself just doing my own things, those are actually your strengths, okay? Lean more into them. Those quirky bits of your personality will ultimately be the driving force towards helping you achieve your core goals out of life, of which one of them might be building a level of economic wealth. Right, next quality is the quality of thinking long-term whilst living in the present. Now, I've met two kinds of people. People say things like, oh, you only live once, so they kind of want to live for today and that's it. Then you have other people who say, well, actually, all I'm doing is thinking about the long term and forget the present. Like one day I hope to enjoy myself, and then they do nothing in the present. Whereas I'm like, no. I want the best of both. Like I want to think long term, but I also want to live in the present. So I'm the kind of guy who would geek out on Excel, doing scenario analysis, doing some modeling on Excel, and looking at what if interest rates did this? What if inflation carried on at this rate? What if the return on my investment was 1% more? What if it was 2% less than I'm projecting? That's the kind of guy I am. I'm projecting, I geek out on stuff like that. And I'm the kind of guy who was doing this for my mortgage and just, looking at, what if I overpaid by this much? What if I did this? What if I did that? I love what if scenarios. So I spend a lot of my life thinking about the future, 20 years, 30 years down the line. I'm imagining myself when I'm 60, 65 years old. I'm imagining our kids being 30, 35 years old, even though they are 7 years old and 8 years old at the moment. But make no mistake, I'm also the guy who loves to enjoy myself right now with my beautiful wife. I love to go on holiday and I love to enjoy the present. I love to, go away, have nice meals, go for walks, and do the things that I absolutely enjoy. So I've personally found that balance of thinking long-term whilst living in the present has helped me so much when it comes to true wealth creation. Because wealth is not just about accumulating money. You've got to also enjoy your life. You've got to also have experiences. Think long-term, but do everything you can to also live in the present to some extent. Okay, so the next quality is the quality of using suffering as a strength, okay? Let me explain what I mean here. When I started this video, I said to you that, I gave you this backdrop of my journey so far. In case you're new to this channel, my journey consists of many points of no return. Many points of no return, whether it's being made redundant or having a terrible breakup, or immigrating to a whole new country, starting off with no money, no papers, nothing, starting from ground zero. There are so many of these little points of no return. The one thing that I think has helped me a lot on this journey of building this holistic wealth, economic freedoms, financial freedoms, and, building good relationships and good marriage and so on. The one thing that's helped me a lot is using all that backdrop of suffering and struggle, truly reflecting on them, not seeing them as just past events. They've just happened, forget about them. But I just love really reflecting on my point of no return, because every single point of no return, every single one has been, almost think of it as an injection of energy, an injection of motivation to help me get to that next best place in my life. Another thing has also been really useful when I think about the past suffering, whether it's my bad choices, bad money decisions, bad relationships, all those things, bad career choices. When I think about all those things, one thing that's really helped me is, and this might be down to the strength in journaling, kind of writing down your thoughts, writing down your reflections, being a storyteller. I've grown through becoming a content creator to think a lot about my past and think about little aspects of my life, almost seemingly insignificant bits that might be forgotten day to day. Reflecting on those moments have just helped me ask myself what I've learned out of those situations and what those experiences have helped to shape in me as an individual as I work towards the next step in my life, that next level of elevation. What have I learned from the past? So for me, I don't look back at my past suffering with negativity, although I get quite emotional thinking about them or, reflecting on them. What I really take away from past sufferings is that those past sufferings are really preparing me. I always think of them as a stepping stone. They're preparing me for future greatness in different ways in my life. I say that to get across to you that if you're somebody who is struggling right now, if you're somebody who is currently in a place where you have no money, you're broke, you've got no papers, you're just struggling, you've got no job, there's so many, you've got poor health, don't just see those as doom and gloom. Don't just see them as negative things that are happening in your life. Just see them as the right mindset. Personally, as someone who's looking back from coming from those places, the right mindset is see them as, do you know what? I might be where I am today, but these places where I'm at right now in my life are effectively stepping stones for something much better ahead. It's the right mindset to have. And honestly, if you've got that mindset and you continue to reflect on that, I can pretty much guarantee that you will be that person finding yourself getting closer to a much better place in your life. The final quality I've got to share with you on today's video is the quality of gratitude. Now, many of you will know, and I try to be as transparent as I can on this video without obviously imposing my own personal beliefs on anybody, but many of you would know that I'm a man of faith, and I love to talk about that, once in a while. I've got to say to you, I've said quite a few times on this channel that, gratitude is the antidote for optimism. Okay, if you're feeling a bit bad in your life, you're feeling a bit uninspired, if your life feels really rubbish and crap, and you feel like you're not really progressing, the one thing that I find that helps me every single time, is when I reflect on the things that I'm grateful for, And one way I do that is through the power of prayer. I find prayer on a very personal level to be a really powerful thing. In fact, I think of prayer as oxygen. It's my way of being thankful. There's no day that I wake up that I'm not thankful, for even the most seemingly insignificant things. The fact that I can breathe, the fact that I'm here making these videos, the fact that I woke up next to my wife, the fact that I can hear my kids screaming or running around in joy or fighting each other, even though I'm like, boys, stop it, the fact that I've got all those things happening, or the fact that I woke up without somebody knocking on the door, or chasing me for some debt, or even the fact, even when things aren't going that well, the fact that I'm actually able to think about a solution. Gratitude is such a powerful thing. And for me, prayer is the way I connect with God. It's my way of saying, look, there's only so much I can do in my life. The rest, thankfully, I leave to you to run in the way that only you know how. The other thing I also ask about when I pray, beyond just being thankful, is to ask for wisdom. Wisdom to know good from bad. Wisdom to know right from wrong. Wisdom to know when I should cross the road and when I shouldn't cross the road. Wisdom to know what relationships I should build and what relationships I should cut off. I know this might not be appealing to everybody, what I'm talking about, but I like to be real with you guys. That's the whole point of having this immensely privileged opportunity to have a YouTube channel and share and project my voice. There's nothing better than me truly being able to project the true inner being onto somebody out there. I don't know who's going to watch this video. I don't know where you are watching this video, but whoever it is, I know there'll be somebody out there, although they might never tell me, they might never leave me a comment or anything or give me a signal. I know that this video would have landed on good ground and had some good impact on somebody. Okay, so anyway, but as I keep saying, this wealth building journey is more than just the mechanics of investing, saving money, and all those things. It's way more than that. It's more about an intentional way of operating through life that actually then helps you build your desired understanding of wealth. Guys, this video has gone on a bit longer than I expected. I got carried away, like I said. I hadn't planned this video, in exact measure as I might normally. And my video editor, Julian's going to be saying, Ken, what's going on, man? This video's been longer than I expected. But you know what? I'm just so happy that I've made this video, And I hope, I really hope that, as I said at the beginning, that you've let yourself get immersed in this video. That's really what I want for you, is for you to walk away not only inspired, but to believe more in yourself and your capabilities and your possibilities, because there's so much possibility ahead. It all begins by actually believing it, okay? Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. If you really enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to hit the like button, because that just helps this video to get shared to other people. As I understand, this is how the YouTube thing works. So please hit the like button, because that just helps to get it out to far more people. And please share this video with one other person who you think who might get some wisdom from today's video, as as they perhaps reflect on where they are in their lives today and where they might want to be going for the future. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. And as ever, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care. Bye for now.